Peace in Jesus Christ. We're going to look at this amazing scripture in the first epistle to the Thessalonians, the 5th chapter. Keeping in mind that the end of the 4th chapter chronicles the second coming of Jesus Christ. And it starts off, "But of the times and seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write to you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so comes as a thief in the night. For when they shall say, peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them as travail upon a woman with a child, and they shall not escape. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that that day should overtake you as a thief. You are the children of light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. Therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober." What these verses are saying to me is the second coming of Jesus Christ is connected with the world saying peace and safety. Now, I know for a fact from the research that I've been doing that that only relates to this particular time that we're living through. Because if you look into the events surrounding the Second World War, we had Hitler in 1939 saying that he was going to create a European Union. Then 1946, Winston Churchill appealed to create a United States of Europe so that there would be no more war. And then we have presidents of America like Reagan appealing to the United Nations, saying that they don't want any more war, they want to aim for peace, and so on and so forth. And all of the new age that we're living through, where they're trying to unite all the nations together, is all done in the name of peace and safety. You'll notice clearly the terminology, different versions of the word safety, security, etc., constantly being bandied about. Also, Vatican II, their new theology, obviously combined with Hermeticism, is centered around peace. Now, combining that with prophecies, ancient prophecies, Second Baruch tells us about 12 woes of the end times. The end times is going to be 2 weeks, i.e. 2,000 years. Enoch's prophecy of 10 weeks, it tells us each segment of 1,000 years, there's going to be 10,000 years, and the eighth week is the millennium. So there's going to be 7,000 years, and then the millennium is going to come. Again, it ties in with Second Baruch that these segments of 1,000 years all coincide with 2,000 years from the crucifixion, which is now. We've got to also mention 2nd Ezra 13, where it mentions about the uniting of the kingdoms of the earth after being set against one another. And just wanted to read. We've got to also mention 2nd Ezra 13, where it mentions about the uniting of the kingdoms of the earth after being set against one another. And just wanted to read Enoch concerning the sudden destruction which Paul speaks about. It says, "When sin and unrighteousness and blasphemy and violence and all kinds of deeds increased, and apostasy and transgression and uncleanness increase, a great chastisement shall come from heaven upon all these. And the Holy Lord will come forth with wrath and chastisement to execute vengeance on earth." That's specific to the second coming. It talks about this in the book of Revelation. "In those days violence shall be cut off from its roots, and the roots of unrighteousness together with deceit, and they shall be destroyed from under heaven. And all the idols of the heathen shall be abandoned, and the temples burned with fire, and they shall remove then from the whole earth And they, i.e. the heathen, shall be cast into the judgment of fire, and shall perish in wrath and in grievous judgment forever. And the righteous shall arise from their sleep. That's talking about the resurrection of the dead. And wisdom shall arise and be given unto them. And after the roots of unrighteousness shall be cut off, and the sinners shall be destroyed by the sword, and the roots will be cut off from the blasphemers in every place. And those who plan violence and those who commit blasphemy shall perish by the sword. And after that there shall be another week, the 8th, that of righteousness, and a sword will be given to it, that judgment and righteousness may be executed on those who commit oppression, and sinners will be delivered into the hands of the righteous. So clearly God's plan is outlined per millennium, and as we know, the 8th week, or as it's commonly called, the millennium, that of righteousness, is clearly impending and upon us, because when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction shall come upon them. Now we know that then by saying peace and safety, if we mark that against what Christ said, he said, think not that I came to bring peace but a sword. And again, in the Proverbs of Solomon, it says there's no peace for the wicked. Clearly we have to understand that the prophecy of 1 Thessalonians 5 is speaking specifically about the second coming, and that, again, as Christ said, as in the days of Noah, it's linked to the evil that is in mankind, as it says in Genesis, their thoughts were only evil, and God repented that he had made them. So the increase, forming, if you like, a critical mass of evil, triggers the second coming of Christ, as it says in the prophet Joel, cause thy mighty ones to come down. It's a provocation to war, Armageddon. The wickedness of the earth that increases, and the ungodliness is the provocation against the heaven and his holiness and his righteousness to come down and execute judgment.